Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Udwir Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. Every day I get into some sort of uncharted waters and talk about the things that people sometimes shy away from and do not want to speak about. For me as a human being, I want to understand everything and everybody around me. Today in the studio, Dialogues with Jagero, I have Mishi. Mishi, the other name is very difficult.
Mbaitsa.
Mbaitsa?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It means a generous person, if I'm not wrong. That's what I was told.
Yeah, which part of which part of Kenya, which part of the world does it come from?
Western. It's a Luya name.
Is it?
From Maragoli, yeah.
Yesterday I was with a pastor here, and he read me several verses about lesbianism and homosexuality and trans. And he says that it's a sin. That's what the Bible says. When people say that, what usually
comes to mind?
Yeah.
I just find it funny.
Yeah.
Because already they have assumed something wrong about me, which is that you assume that I believe in the Bible. You see? So you're judging me based on your belief, and you're projecting that on me. So already, like, starting from there, it's usually like a disconnect with me, because I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. Yeah.
A lot of people say that today. What does it exactly mean that you are spiritual? Are you facing Mount Kenya or are you facing Mount Maragoli?
For me personally, because I can only speak for myself, it means I recognize that there's something higher than me. There has to be. That's what I believe in. It gives me hope to know that I'm not in control. Like, in a sense of, even if things go wrong, there's someone out there looking out for my good, and that could be the universe, that could be God, usually those two. So what I mean by I'm spiritual, I'm not religious, I don't follow the Bible's teachings. I'm not out here reading the Bible. I don't go to church. I don't believe in religion as an entity. Well, I know the importance of religion, but I don't subscribe to it. Yeah, that's what I mean by.
But you don't call yourself atheist?
No, I'm not an atheist. I believe there has to be a higher being. Like, humans can't be the master. Well, the thing is, even when I pray to God, and that means the relationship I have with God might not be the textbook definition of how someone should be praying to God, or rather it means that there's no religious guideline that I have while I'm praying to my God. Yeah, that's basically it. But I'm not an atheist. Yeah.
You umekata.
Yeah, I'm not an atheist. I used to be.
You used to be?
I used to be an atheist. But
and then what changed?
Life sometimes happens, and some situations you get out of, you're just like, I know, there has to be a higher power than, my doing that got me out of that situation. So it's like, yeah.
Are you at liberty to say that thing that was so dark and God and
for another podcast? For another podcast, yeah. But it doesn't even have to be anything extraordinary or atrocious. Even being broke. Like, I'm not saying that I'm now bawling, no, not yet. But there's some things that you go through and you don't even understand how you are able to come out of them. And most definitely, you know that you needed something to give you hope, and you wouldn't have come out of it without hope in that moment. So that's why I say I'm a spiritual person. Yeah, but stories of Bible, no.
Fair enough. For purposes of clarity and for my audience, you identify as, what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are she, her.
She, her.
Yes. I am a lesbian, but also I go by queer sometimes. I feel like queer is usually so, how do I say this? When you say you're a queer person, people just assume it could be bisexual or maybe pansexual. But when you say, pansexual is someone who's attracted to everyone, like every gender, like male, female, transgender, non-binary, that's a pansexual person. Yeah, so I feel like actually a lot of people use queer as sort of security. Because, for example, even with me personally, before I proudly identified as a lesbian woman, I started by just calling myself queer. Because with queer, there's no questions, like people are more accepting of bisexual people, especially feminine presenting women being bisexual. It's not really a big deal in today's society, but once you say, no, I'm a lesbian, it's like, oh, that's a sin, oh my God, how dare you, you know? Yeah.
It's a huge one. Do you consider it a very for sometimes I feel like well, don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. By the way, I'm approaching this conversation with, I'm just having
and by the way, I think the way the world should work is that when somebody is ignorant, and I want to say before at the very beginning of this podcast that I'm very ignorant about these things. And one of the things that has happened for me in this podcast is to try and understand a lot of things. For once, there are so many issues of women that I never used to understand, that I started understanding in a very deeper and intimate way when I started having this podcast. Especially issues of harassment, sexual harassment, and abuse. When you are a man, you don't see it the way women see it.
True.
As a man, when you walk out of the house every morning, the last thing in your head is that somebody is going to attack me, or somebody is going to talk about my butts, or that somebody is going to talk about my breasts, that somebody is going to talk about the way I walk, or how short my skirt is. It is not there at all. When you start talking with women and you realize that, oh shit, this actually happens every day to some of them, then you understand. The same way, there are so many people that are detached from the issues of sexuality. They listen to it, it disgusts them, it makes them frustrated, it makes them angry, and the people on the other side, like you, are also frustrated, sometimes angry, sometimes bitter, because there is no understanding coming from the rest of the world towards them. And like, can we understand these things better? So sometimes, like the lady that was here corrected me several times, because you say something that in that community is not is what is like gaslighting them, correct?
Yeah.
Or being extremely sensitive and insensitive to them. So, but I've realized that when you ask and when you make mistakes and when you misrepresent facts, then somebody like you is able to come out and say, but wait, this is what we feel, this is how we think we should be referred to. You see, like a lot of people are usually laughing when people are putting he, she, or he on Twitter account. And like, what is going on there? When you say that you're a lesbian, what exactly does that mean? Is that a fair question?
I think that's a fair question. And first of all, I commend you for approaching this conversation with curiosity, because I feel like the disconnect for a lot of people is to just immediately shun and judge something that you don't understand or something that you're not used to seeing or hearing about.
Yeah.
So first of all, I commend you for that. And yeah, I think the question is very fair. To me, being a lesbian means I am emotionally and physically attracted to women, and I want to build my life with a woman, shout out to my partner. And I see myself having a family with a woman and growing old with a woman. That's it. Yeah.
That's, for lack of a better word, it's very bold to say.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Let's go back to how you grew up. Tell me a little bit of where you grew up the schools that you went, what you do right now.
Okay, so my upbringing was pretty humble. I grew up in a place called Mbotela. It's in Jogoo Road, so that's in Eastlands. I went to a girls' school in primary, and actually I went to all girls' schools throughout primary and high school. I was a really good student, really, really good, but I guess everyone says that. Yeah, my school life wasn't necessarily anything grand, but it did give me a lot of lessons I have in life, and it also was a source of so much trauma for me, especially my high school life, due to my sexuality. Yeah, so about my upbringing, I come from a single parent home. So I actually, my dad passed away when I was 14, and that was really hard for myself and my family. So right now it's my mom, my brother, and my sister. And yeah, navigating through grief, because one thing about grief, it doesn't end. You just learn how to cope. And what else would you like to know?
Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in 2 schools. So the first one was somewhere in Chuka. The second one was here in Nairobi. Yeah.
A day school this time around?
So the first one was a boarding school, but the second one was a day school. Yeah. But I think now it's boarding. No. Actually, some students were in day school, myself included, and some were in boarding school. The second school I actually started out as in boarding school, and then I was transferred to day school. Yeah.
Okay. You're saying that there was because of your sexuality, there were problems in high school.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So, okay, my first high school was pretty relaxed. By the way, I did my KCPE when I was in class 7. There's something, do you know adult education?
Adult education?
Yeah, so adult education is like...
Where you are an adult and you go back to school?
Yes, when you go back to school, you get your certificate. So my mom is an adult education teacher. And at the time when I was in class 7, she was like, why don't you try your exams this year and see if you will pass, even though you're not yet in class 8. And I tried it and I skipped a year. Looking back, I wish I just did my final year, but it's okay. So my first high school was pretty relaxed, because it wasn't a national school and everyone there was just cruising through life and they were just happy to be in a high school, so it was very relaxed, and people were very open. You would see like lesbian girls in Form 4 and you would know, yeah, this one is Nani's girlfriend and this one is Nani's girlfriend. But funny enough, I never experimented at that time. Actually, I was out here pretending to like boys, because you already know I don't fit in here. Like, you already know other people are not like me. By the way, I knew I was queer at a very young age. I was in primary school. But at the same time...
How did you know?
I never had an affinity towards boys. And whenever my friends would be there talking about, oh my God, have you seen so-and-so? They look so good. I'm just like, oh, I don't see it, but okay. But when it came to other girls, I used to have so many homoerotic friendships. And
homoerotic?
Yes, a homoerotic friendship is a friendship where, yes, mnaitana friends, but mnajua like zile macho mnapeananga, like it's like, I can sense there's something more here, but we are too young to even like ask ourselves what's happening. Is this normal? We are writing ourselves so many best friend letters and this is my best friend, nobody talk to my best friend, that kind of thing. Looking back now, I see what they were. And also, I used to have crushes on girls instead of boys. And now, because already my surrounding, people are talking about the crushes they're having on boys, I'm just like, wow, am I
You're having crushes on the girls that are saying they have got crushes on boys?
No, like different ones. Now I'm just saying in general, in the schools that I was in, the girls there were talking about boys and having crushes on boys, but that's never something that interested me. You see, like, whenever they would talk about, oh my God, so and
but
so
they would
cute.
ask you, Mishi, who are you attracted to?
Yeah, I would have to lie. I would have to lie and tell them, oh, I think so and so is very cute. But deep down, I know, like, no, I wouldn't even want to hang out with that person if I had a chance to, you know. And I think that carried on through high school. Of course, in primary, I didn't experiment, like, you know, although I had a friend who was also, like, gay. But again, it was homoerotic friendship, because at that time, we don't even know what we are doing. We just know we like each other's company and we have a crush on each other, but of course you can't exploit because you guys are kids. Hata hamfikiri anything like sexual, you know. Yeah, so in high school, when I went in, I still had that thing of pretending that I'm into guys. Because in high school it was worse because everyone is talking about, oh my God, I have a boyfriend, I'm gonna see him when we close school. And we are just there like, sheesh, now I have to have a boyfriend, like for real. I have to upgrade my my feelings to now have a boyfriend, you know. And that's something a lot of queer people go through. It's called, wait, let me get it. Okay, I'll get it.
It will come.
It will come as we continue. But it's something a lot of queer people go through, whereby because you've been socialized to know that you're supposed to be with a man and a man is supposed to be with a woman, like, so you try so hard to fit in. Like, you're like, easy feelings I'm feeling, there's no way that's what I'm supposed to be feeling. So let me go all the way out and find a person to crush on and love them, and, you know. But funny thing with me, like, I used to leave those relationships within like a week or a month, because I'm just like, you know what, I'd rather be alone than
forcing this one.
Than force this and have to pretend. Although that was a journey, because I still found myself doing it in campus. And
you got yourself a man.
I got myself a man.
How was that? Right? Don't tell me it was bad.
It was bad. I left in a week. And mind you, I got myself a man when I was in my last year. So you
were struggling through the years.
I was struggling, but not really. I wouldn't say I was struggling, because
I'm saying struggling because you are looking at women and saying, oh.
No, actually, I dated women when I was in campus, and even my
why were you then
last
getting
year of high
into
school.
Boys then?
Because I feel like for a lot of queer people, it reaches a point where the society's voice is just too loud, and you try to fit in. You know, everyone likes to fit in somewhere, you know, to have a certain group of friends and, you know, be included in the table, whatever the table is. And at that time, I didn't really know a lot of queer people. So I was just trying to fit in, and I was like, maybe I just didn't try hard enough being with a man before. Like, maybe I should actually try this time and see if it works out. And that's what I did. And a week later, I was out, and I was just like, you know what?
This is after coming from a girl-girl relationship.
Yeah, this is after coming from a girl-girl relationship. So I dated in my last year of high school, and then my first 2 years of campus. So the third year I was single, and then the fourth year is when I tried to date like a man. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm not going back ever. Like, I won't gaslight myself into thinking that I can be with a man, you know, that I can love a man. And I was like, yeah, for me, that's the moment I came out to myself, which is very important. Like, because when people talk about coming out, they usually feel like it's coming out to the world or to people. But actually, the most important coming out is the coming out to yourself.
I'm going to